So VAXEE's first wireless mouse is finally here, and in this video we will find out if the XE Wireless disappointed me or not. The two most interesting things in my opinion are the performance and the pricing, so we will of course cover them in depth, but we will also talk about all the features. The first phenomenal feature is the click feel. The clicks on the VAXEE XE are really light, extremely soft, very easy to spam. There is a limited amount of pre and post travel and some slight wobble in the main mouse buttons, but that doesn't cause any creaking and doesn't happen in game. With how light these clicks are, I've still not have had any accidental actuation. And overall with the click feel and how functional these feel in game, I will have to say that these are again very well implemented clicks, some of the best ones I've tried for sure. The second phenomenal feature is the coding in these VAXEE mice. It's extremely grippy for me, feels very premium. It just feels like one of these rubberized coatings. Feels very good during the winter when my hands are dry, and also very good on the summer when my hands are more moist. I think that the coating or the surface finish in mice is very underrated. For me it can make or break a mouse in terms of how much I use it long term, and not just for the time which I have to use of course to test these mice for reviews. Next up we are talking about a bad feature, and it's the mouse feet. These are by no means horrible or even that bad, but on VAXEE standards these are not up to par with the rest of the mouse. The same issue was already there with the wired XE. Basically I do not think that the design on these feet is very good, and these actually feel quite rough on rougher mouse pads, but with anything smooth these actually feel good. I never had any issues with the old design that the Outset AX for example had, so I'm a little bit disappointed that they decided to change with the XE. One funny thing I want to mention about these feet and the Pulsar glass pad is that these in combination make a very satisfying sound. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but for some reason it just sounds very good and satisfying for me. There is something about the smoothness of the sound that satisfies me on some weird level. Okay, let's get on to the next great thing, and that's the sensor performance. And the motion latency is especially extremely low with the high performance mode for 1000 Hz. It's about 0.5 milliseconds and actually even matches the G-Bull's HDS Plus with 4000 Hz. Motion sync also adds either no latency penalty at all or a very minimal amount of 0.1 to 0.4 milliseconds. So in terms of motion, the mouse feels very responsive. For fun I also tested if there is any latency difference between the high performance mode and the standard mode, and according to my results there is pretty much none. But that does not mean that there is no difference between the two modes, as with some quite general tests you can see that these graphs look entirely different, and I suspect that the high performance mode uses higher frame rates. I did not even extensively test the standard mode because I feel that everybody should be gaming with the high performance mode. In terms of overall sensor implementation I found no issues, so the polling rate is very stable, there are no issues with motion sync or lost packets or anything like that. So sensor performance overall is exceptional with the XE Wireless. Quick mention about the battery life of the XE. The high performance mode definitely does give it a hit, and I feel that the numbers that VAXEE stated in their website are actually quite accurate. Good thing is that it's very easy to switch between the modes, so you just hold down basically the D-bounce button and turn the mouse on, and that's how you switch the power mode. So when one LED is blinking right here, it's on standard mode, and when we turn the mouse off again, press the button, turn it on, you can see that all the three LEDs are blinking, so that means that it's on high performance mode. Then let's move on to click latency, and that's something on the VAXEE XE Wireless that's not either phenomenal or bad, but it's good. 2 milliseconds is the lowest D-bounce setting that the mouse has, and with that I measured about 3.5 milliseconds latency. And the standard deviation was in normal numbers. One thing to note is that changing the power mode had actually no effect in click latency at all. Low click latency isn't really something that VAXEE or Zowie either have tried to catch. The clicks are for sure responsive enough, I just think that it would be nice to see for them to try to find more elegant D-bounce solution and lower the click latency at the same time. At least it wouldn't hurt. That's basically it for the features, but we still have a few subjects left to talk about. So we're gonna talk about the weight, the shape and how I think it's in game. I basically already reviewed the XE Wired, so there's a lot of data about the shape in that video, so I recommend you to check that if you want more in depth, but we will talk a little bit about the shape in this video as well. And then of course we will talk about the pricing. In terms of the weight, the XE Wireless weighs 76 grams, so it's not lightweight by any means, but it's not heavy in my opinion either. In game I had basically no issues, so I didn't struggle with mobility or anything like that, and for this size and for what it is designed for, so I think mainly claw and palm grips and any kind of hybrids between those, I think 76 grams is okay. Again, not lightweight, but it's not something that VAXEE finds that important. Then for the shape, and this is actually something fairly interesting for me as well, because every time I pick up this mouse, even with the wired version, I noticed that my tracking was insanely smooth from the get-go. And I think that's mainly because the way I grip the mouse is very relaxed, and basically there is pretty much no part of my hand touching the mouse pad when I use it, so there is no contact with the mouse pad on my palm, and pretty much none with my fingers if I so choose. I can contact the mouse pad with my fingers if I want that extra kind of friction for precision and such, but it's not constant and I don't have that if I don't want it, so that's why I find it very good for that smooth kind of tracking especially. Precise flicks then again is not something that really comes that quickly with this shape for me naturally, but after about a week of gaming I usually can manage that just fine, and I did it now as well. But especially now when I'm playing more tracking heavy games, like for example Warzone 2 at the moment is one of my favorites for whatever reason. This mouse is a very good option for me, of course, because it just feels so natural with that tracking style. Again, you can check out my VAXEE XE Wired review for more details about the shape and how I find it in game. Let's get on to the last part of the video, and that is pricing. For us Europeans the cost is 140 euros plus shipping. VAXEE only sells it in their own store, so there is no way for you to get it without shipping costs no matter where you're from. So the total cost ends up being something like 150 euros. In the States then again with shipping the total cost ends up being something like 130 bucks. I'm quite happy with this pricing, especially after what we saw with Zowie, so the pricing was quite insane with them. And what you actually get with the money now is that very premium feeling mouse, high quality, great, really great clicks, very low motion latency, pretty much the lowest 1000 Hz mouse out at the moment, or one of the lowest. Overall a great package, especially if you claw grip or palm grip, not really for you guys who fingertip grips that. It's easily one of my favorite mice out at the moment, and I'd be really surprised if it wasn't in my top 5 come 2024. That's pretty much it on this one. If you are a VAXEE fan or you like these symmetrical shapes that are very safe, I highly recommend for you to try this out. I hope you enjoyed the video, have a great day and see you in the next one.